Good evening, Anna. Do you hear me? And Luz and Belisario. Okay, thank you. Well, we can start our encounter. Um, the idea today is to review the use of third conditional because we didn't practice that last week. Also to talk about your insights or your ideas on the task that you have last week and to review some structures of a passive voice with some tenses because we can construct passive voice with different tenses. I think that next week we can have exercises related to practicing um, how to answer questions for the TOEFL. But today we can focus on the grammar topics that you have studied in next week. Anyway, if you have other questions or you want me to explain something, let me know. Okay? So, as I said, we can start by talking about um, by practicing the third conditional. Last week we reviewed the structure and we said that we use it when we regret or when we um, reflect about decisions that we made in the past. So I'm going to write on the screen some options that I had in the past, and I would like you to think about different situations, for example, regarding money or regarding jobs, regarding places where you wanted to live, or other situations in which you had two options and you chose one in the past. So, for example, in my case, when I chose a major, I had two options, either to major in French or to major in English. So I majored in French, in English. So my reflection about my past decision would be if I had majored in French, I would have traveled to France in 2002, or yes, in 2002, because my university had uh, opportunities to travel to that country for students who major in French. Okay, so that regarding my studies. Other example could be regarding my job opportunities. So in 2007, I took two job interviews, one in a school and another in a university. I was offered a job in both places, but I chose the university. So my reflection would be, what would have happened if I had chosen the other opportunity? So if I had accepted the job at the school, I would have worked for primary school students and I would have earned more money. That school pay well, but I prefer to work with uh, adults.
But do you think you can make more money working in primary schools? Yeah,
At schools in Bogota, at the north of the city, they pay better than
university.
universities. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yes, I know. Even if a person has more studies, like in my case, I have a master. I studied a master, even for people like me. So if I worked for a school in Bogota, one of the schools at the north, I probably would earn more money than the money that I earn at the university. So that hasn't that the thing about the money hasn't changed since 10 years. That is still the same.
Or at the university.
Yes. So right now, again, some teachers who work for schools at the north of the city, at the north of Bogota, sometimes earn more money than teachers who work for universities. It's more, I mean, the work at those schools is a lot. I need,
Yeah,
we need to say that. It's more difficult. It's
it's expensive.
exhausting. I mean, it requires more energy, but they also pay more. Okay, so I would like you to tell all of us, each one of you, to think about decisions that you have made in the past, to tell about those experiences that you had, and to make a reflection about what would have happened if you have chosen the option that you didn't choose. It's probably about money or about, as I mentioned, the two places where you wanted to live and you chose one of them, um, studies, friends.
Okay, this is similar to the task we needed to do for this week, right?
No, this week. Okay. Because, okay, this week. All right. Yes. It's a review for third conditional, yes.
Yeah. Um. So I could say the like a few years after I get married, we wanted to buy an apartment, and my wife wanted us to buy an apartment in a area that is not so great. It was small. Yeah, it was not a good option. And I said, no, please, I don't want to buy that apartment. But she thought that was the only option or the best option or the cheapest option. Like she didn't think about other different options. And I said, no, let's wait. I don't like that option. So or we didn't buy that. We found out about more apartments here in Bucaramanga, and thank God we found a good option, a good apartment. It was bigger. Um, Everything was better. Yeah, even the area was a better area. The apartment is light, it's big, it's great. So, I think now, if I had accepted the option that my wife wanted, I would have regret all my life. Yeah, and now she says that this option is the best. Like thanks, she says she tells me thanks because it was the best option ever. It was not very expensive, but a good apartment, a nice apartment.
Was it difficult to find it?
Mm, yeah, yes, because all the apartments in Colombia or in big cities are really expensive. The problem it was like the money. That was the problem. But thank God we find this good option without like it was. I can't remember how many years ago, probably 7 years ago or 8 years ago, and we bought it for 117 million,
Okay.
and we are still paying it. Yeah, we got a loan from a bank, and we're paying it.
That's an important decision because it's something that you cannot change easily. So if you just uh, buy an apartment and start paying taxes and yeah, so and you need to give back the money to the bank, so it's not easy just to change the place later. So it was good that you waited and your wife waited to get a better option and to make sure that it was the best.
Yeah, and she didn't want to wait, and she thought that that was the only alternative. My God, it was hard for me to convince her, but thank God it happened. Jesus.
Great, fortunately. Okay, thank you, Eddie. All right, who wants to be next?
Me, teacher.
Alejandra.
Yes. Hi, teacher. I'm
Hello.
partner. Um, 2 or 3 years ago, I had my first interview in English or in a private school. As I didn't have the appropriate level of English, I wasn't chosen for the position.
Okay.
Um, if I had studying English as soon as I finish my studies at university, I would have a better job now.
Okay. So, what other job did you get at that time?
Now in this moment, um, I am a teacher, but not in English.
Okay.
What kind of teacher? What are you teaching
Social teacher of primary.
in Spanish?
Yes, in Spanish. But I like to be a teacher, an English teacher.
So you're getting experience on classroom management. You know now how to deal with kids. Alejandra? Alejandra? Well, she probably had problems with her connection. Alejandra, we can't hear you.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, now we can. I ask you if you have learned a lot about how to deal with children. I mean, discipline.
No,
It, it has
I,
been,
I,
Alejandra?
That's internet connection problems.
Yeah. Okay,
I think
well,
I think she needs to finish her university studies in order to get a good job. Like,
yeah, so it will be easier for her when she gets her diploma
yes,
for
same as me.
everybody. Uh-huh.
I need to finish soon in order to get a better job because I have taught Portuguese at university, but not English because of that. I haven't finished my university.
Mm. Yeah, her universities is more difficult if you don't have the certificate. For schools it's easier, but universities need to prove to the Ministry of Education that their teachers have the certificate.
No, even for schools to get a good job, like all the schools are requiring uh, like professional teachers, like in Spanish we say licenciados. Yeah, now the requirement is higher, and even the levels like international
Mhm.
exams levels like B1, B2, C1, C2. Now the requirement is like higher or yeah.
Uh-huh. Which is good in a way. Sometimes I've had students who are very good at English, but they don't have the degree. So, and they have the experience, they just don't have the degree. So those are like cases in which they really need to finish soon. So they get the degree just to be promoted and or to continue working in the same place.
And now the university this semester can offer me or offer many students the co-terminal subject or the terminal option. So we need to do the project.
Yeah, it was not possible this year because number of students for that for those studies was not enough. So yeah,
And that's harder, right? That's more difficult to do the project, to
well,
carry out the project. More difficult.
my experience, because I help some students with that, is that when they are sure about the topic, it goes fast because they just help each other, and it's not just one person researching about a topic, and it's not only one person writing everything, but they students 3 or 4 students start working on the same project, and they help each other, and that's faster if they know the topic. If they don't, that takes more time.
Oh, okay. I didn't get it. So, so it's individual or in group?
In groups.
Okay. Wow,
in
that's
groups.
Yes,
that's
but it
better.
is 2 or more. So, for example, I am helping a group of 4 students, and they are doing well because they have some deadlines, and they work to get or to give me the papers or the task on time. And it's a lot of work, but since they are 4, each one does one part, and that's good for them because they are able to give me the task on time.
And in order to receive your accessory, it's free, like or how does it work?
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, in order to receive your accessory with the project, like does the university offer this service or how does it work?
Yes. So once you are ready to get to start the project, so you get in groups, 2 or more, and then the university gives you a tutor who guides you and tells you what you have to do.
Okay, because I need to study this semester and next one, and I will finish all my subjects. So I'm in a hurry or in a rush.
Okay, that will be great if you can start thinking about people you could work with and to decide on the topic. So once you have the topic, that goes faster.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the information.
Okay. Luz, you raised your hand. Please tell us about some decisions that you made in the past.
Well, when I finished school, I went to the Universidad of Manizales to study accountancy. Then, when I was in the third semester, my mother, I have to move to Manizales to live there. And my mother was very ill and she needed to move to Cali to have an operation and then a long treatment. So I have to make the decision to carry on with my studies or to go and stay there with my parents. It was bit difficult because my father wanted me to study, obviously, but I didn't feel well not being able to be with my mom in that moment. So I took the decision and I just left university and went to Cali and we stayed there for about 6 months. And if I had finished my accountancy studies at university, probably would be an accountant now. After that, I just have the opportunity to go to London to study English, and then I never, I never go back to the university. So because I went to London to study, then I come back here, and then I went back to London again and lived there for 8 years. So that's my reflection.
Okay, thank you, Luz. Just a comment. When we talk about studies, we say we use the verb drop. So it will be I dropped the university.
Okay, thanks.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I say I left,
Exactly.
isn't?
Yes,
Okay.
will be I dropped.
Okay.
Good, Luz.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. Thanks.
And that's a
Uh,
very common verb, like drop something.
yes, so that would
But in
be for school, for studies, usually.
Mhm.
Good. Felix, good evening. You raise your hand.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good,
Good,
Felix.
good evening, teacher. Good to see you. Well, can I talk about this
Yes,
topic?
sure.
Oh, okay. So, well, our age of 19, my family uh, traveled to Israel because I have some relatives that come from Israel, and and I left alone. I stayed, sorry, alone, and it was terrible for me because I at that time I have never been alone, living alone, surviving alone, and was very hard for me. And I left my studies because I was so uh, sad and not very motivated. Um, really, I didn't have a big motivation to keep studying. And then 6 months later, I get together uh, and finally get together at that time again. And I live my study 1 year more, and I start study at that time a technician in the X proof X technician X was my first profession. X analyzer. I don't know how to say this in other words. And then, well, I started my degree in science. As you know, I have a degree in science. Well, I think it's very interesting. All
What
this kind of experience really teach you that and make you harder, yeah, and take part of life. That's it. Thank you very much.
what do you think would have happened if you had stayed? in Israel?
Repeat, please, again, your
What do you
question.
think? What do you think would have happened in your life if you had stayed in Israel?
Well, I think it had been different because I like so much this country. I think it makes part of my life. One part of my life is there, one part of my life is here, and I everything had been different because I have to uh, keep starting there, the country, and I consider I lost time here, and now I really you say regret, lamentar, yeah, lamentar. You know how you say lamentar? Okay, I forgot that.
Celebrate
Should,
what?
how do you say lamentar? Hoy me
Uh,
lamento.
I regret.
I regret, yeah, I regret of that.
Mm,
Yeah, that's it.
okay, thank you. Anna, finally, could you please tell us about two decisions that you, or one decision that you made in the past? Anna? Anna, do you hear us? Okay, I can't hear you.
Her microphone is not activated.
We can't hear you, Anna. Could you please check your microphone? Or you could probably use not the headset, but your computer's microphone.
Okay.
Okay, now we
Now,
can hear you. Yes.
oh my God. Okay, decision. 9 years ago, I traveled to London to study English, improve my English science. My bases were minimal in the language. I was afraid to answer in English for this. I lived 2 years in this country where I worked to support myself and studied. I was far from my family. Mm, there was a time where I got sick, but this experience is the best thing that happened to me. Science allowed me to work in Cofren school for 8 years ago. I teaching English in this school, in elementary school teacher. The
Okay,
best
and
experience for me.
you had the opportunity to travel there, and did you have other option at that time? I mean, staying in Colombia or traveling or going abroad. What do you think would have happened if you had stayed in Colombia, if you hadn't traveled? What do you think would have happened at that time?
Mm, if, this moment no working in the school. Yes, teacher. I change my opportunities.
So at
For
that time,
example,
okay, go ahead.
work in the commercial uh, or no, I don't know.
You probably you would have probably worked in a different thing, like in a
Yes,
business or in a store.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right. Thank you, Anna. So This is just for all of us to remember the structure. Please don't forget that this is to talk about regrets or to reflect about decisions that we made in the past. So you just need to memorize the structure. The first part of the sentence goes with past perfect, and the second part of the sentence goes with would and
Wow,
present
wow.
perfect. Yeah, so if I had stayed Colombia,
That's
I would
okay.
have traveled, or sorry, I would have worked in a store, for example, right?
Okay.
Practice
Okay.
structure is so important because it's not very common. Like in English, it's not very common for us to practice. We never practice this structure.
Yes, it's not common to talk about those situations, but anyway, we need to keep that in mind, the rules. The rules,
Yeah,
we need to have clear the rules for the four types of conditions. Last week
yeah.
we studied the second one, and today the third.
Actually, I liked the task for this week because it made us practice something that we never practice. I have to say, personally, I never have thought about those
Yeah.
situations, so it was so good. I liked it so much.
Good. Well, any question about this topic before we move to passive voice?
No. Did
Okay.
they use verb in past?
Could you repeat, Anna, please?
Did they use the verb in past? Yes. Next
We use
one.
for the third conditional, we use if
Yeah.
and past perfect and would and present perfect. That is
Okay.
a rule for regrets or reflections about past decisions.
Okay.
But remember that there are three more conditionals: zero, first, and second, and each one has a different structure, right? So for
Yeah.
example,
Present
second
past.
conditional,
Present will.
exactly.
Yes.
Present and will, that's the first
Uh,
conditional. The second
yes. First.
conditional is
It's
Past,
past
past simple
past,
and would.
and would.
Would.
past simple and would, exactly.
Would.
And
Yes.
third conditional is past perfect,
Past
would,
perfect and
present
would
perfect.
perfect. Yeah.
That is the one that is tricky
It's
because it's
just
not
present
very
present.
common. It's a little hard, like it's advanced because the others are a piece of cake.
Yeah, like the ones that we use more.
Exists also the zero conditional, but
Uh-huh. What
some
is the
Present
reason
rule?
perfect is
they keep
possible.
this conditional. Yeah,
Felix, what
but
is the
zero
rule for zero conditional? I mean
present
the
to
tense,
present, I think
present and
present.
present.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
Yes. Present and present.
Hmm. And
exactly.
it is focus on common events or also situations. For example, poor smell. Yeah, if you put this on fire, for example, some some situation like this, a very natural event.
Exactly. So zero conditional is for natural things, for truths, for facts. So as you
Exactly.
mentioned, if you put your finger on next to on the fire, you get burned. So it's
Yeah,
present and
exactly.
present. It's just a reality. It's something. It's a truth. Okay,
And
good. Yes.
and the first conditional could be for parents talking to their children. If you do something, I'll do. If you, oh my God,
Yeah, good
Funny.
example. If you continue doing that, I will. Something like that.
where you will be able to
Predictions.
negotiate or
Okay, good. Well, let's move to the other topic, which is passive voice. So, as you read in Dexway, you can create passive voice with all the tenses, with present, past simple, past perfect, present perfect, with continuous tenses, with modals. So we're going to review that today, and the task that you had last week was a little bit related to that because you had to listen to some videos that were about uh, trade agreements and imports and exports. So I would like, Anna, for example, could you please remind us like the products that are imported and exported?
Oh,
Import. Mm,
Yes, remember that you watched some videos about um, some clothing business and some car business,
okay.
and that you read
Yes.
some information about imports and exports. Do you remember the products that are imported and exported?
Sport. Flowers. Uh, um, coffee. Cafe.
Yes,
Sorry,
Coffee.
right?
cafe. Um, mm, flowers. Rose. Cafe. Oh my
Coal.
God. What?
Coal. Mention
Coal.
coal.
Uh-huh.
Continue. Yes. And the import uh, cards. Um,
Exactly. Import
yes,
cards.
I
yes.
remember supplies, different supplies.
This video talking about textiles, Colombian sport and import, no?
Yes, right. So cars are imported and coffee is exported. Uh, what other products are imported from different parts of the world?
But according to the video or in the reality?
According to the videos and according to the readings that you made. Remember that there was a chart?
Exported coffee, flowers, and import medicines,
Right?
Yeah,
uh, planes,
Okay.
car.
Cars.
planes, and cars.
Okay.
Exactly. Do you remember what are the like the key causes for um, for the problem that we had in trade agreements? So Colombia is not competing with other countries in the trade agreements because there are some facts, there are some things in the country that don't allow different enterprises to compete. Which are those
Yes,
issues?
it's because the products in Colombia are more expensive because of the taxes. The electricity or the energy and the supplies are more expensive than other countries. So they make them.
yeah, petroleum, gasolina,
Yes, exactly. So fuel is
very
more
expensive
expensive,
here.
the energy is more expensive, we have higher taxes.
Everything
Yeah,
is more
yeah,
expensive in Colombia. Everything.
Okay, and or you all reflected about possible solutions. What are
Mhm.
some possible solutions that you mentioned?
Well, I think I wrote like a five. One is maybe look for a government help. Or it is supposed that the government is the main figure in the country. So look for some work together with enterprises. Another one is have a preference with merchants or enterprises in Colombia or people that export because there are really uh, few exporters or traders in Colombia. Uh, Compared with other countries really export mm, many things. Here in Colombia is really reduce this door. The chance is really reduced. And another possibility could be that taxes must be changed because
Mm,
it's that is
yes.
that is, excuse me the term, but it's stupid. Micro company here in Colombia pay high taxes. For that, many companies close, yeah, or quick in 3 months they are not working, no offering the product because it's so difficult to keep a situation like this I'm talking about. Another is maybe produce national products and consume or get all those products for Colombian people. Colombian people have all the abilities or are able to produce good products by offering a low price. I think so. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, Felix. Thank you. What other solutions did you write about?
I say that we should support local industries instead of foreign industries because nowadays there is a lot imports, for example, from China, and this is really bad for our economy because we have, as we said before, we have to pay a lot of taxes and expenses in electricity and so many things. So what, from my point of view, what we should do is to support our industries.
Okay, do you read the place where the objects or things that you buy are made? When you buy things, do you actually read where those objects were made?
Yeah, most of them come from China, and the quality is not so good. Sometimes they're really cheap, but the quality is not good at all. And
Yeah.
I consider the problem is the government, the policies. They need to be
Yes.
changed because Colombia is like this because of the policies. It's because government don't care about companies, about people, about Colombians. They just care about money, steal money. When they are the rulers, they just care about getting money for them, and that's the problem. That's why many people go to other countries because they don't agree with the corruption here. and many policies need to be changed. The taxes are too high, so they need to decrease them or put them down. And like um, think that our companies are important, and sometimes they give more importance to things or products from other countries. Yeah, um, yeah, everything is too expensive here, and if the government doesn't do anything, everything is going to be the same or much worse, and
Yeah.
that's so sad for us.
Okay, so I agree with you that the government needs to make different decisions, but we can also make different decisions when we buy things. We could, regarding food, for example, Colombia produces a lot of food, and we
Yes.
sometimes buy food from other countries. So we could start buying food that is only from Colombia, because most of there are a lot of people in Colombia who live from farming. So if we don't support them, so other things, well, we buy other things that are not made here. For example, some machines, some electronic machines. So we need to buy them from other places because they are not made here. But things that we produce here, we could probably start thinking or realizing or becoming aware if we are supporting those enterprises or those farmers or those companies that are from Colombia. If we prefer them and if we can, like, choose the ones that are made here, I would say. Well, but
Yeah,
you
probably.
guys,
Yeah,
Belisario?
Yes, like probably with appliances, there's one that is local, Cali, that they say Cali, but
Uh,
many people could think that the products are not so good or not. I don't know.
uh-huh. Yeah, so if we compare Kale with Sony, so well, Sony is far better than Kale. But if we know that food that is farmed here is most of the time organic, is good food. So why don't we
Yeah,
buy
different fruits.
that food? Why
Yes,
do we
teacher,
have to
in
buy
London.
food from other countries?
Yes. For example, in London, I miss the fruit because the honestly, this country was where the still is. I don't like the food in London.
So yeah, so
I miss
it's
my
processed or
food.
it tastes differently.
Yes, yeah, the taste is different.
Exactly. So we know the food here is good, so we can choose the food from here.
Yes.
But you guys mentioned other ideas, other solutions in your task. What are those
Change
solutions?
the ideas in my governments.
Okay. I think one of another solution could be return to planting. Maybe some countries that are considered developed countries around over the world are adopting this kind of practice. Planting, for example, Japan and in Europe, different countries are. And finally, all about food, gonna end by adopting this kind of practice to survive. It is hard and difficult to keep by using or having all this kind of or trade, and the prices is not good for people. This must stop really. I think.
Okay. Some of you mentioned that we could probably rethink about the trade agreements or change them, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Alejandra?
yes. I agree with Felice because I write that I was stronger because I think it's better to eliminate disagreement or rethinking a policy that benefit our country and products, especially those that come from our farmers and our um, um, micro industry because that is the problem. Because for foreign companies, it doesn't put so much trouble or problem to sell their products. But for the national micro companies that want to get ahead, if there is a lot of paperwork and inconvenience to be able to sell their product,
Okay.
and
Any,
also it is essential to end the corruption and generate the um, public policy that protect and benefit and enhance above all to or our trade.
Public.
right? Any other idea on how to solve the problem?
And I think in case that we need a trade agreement, it must be in equal condition for
Mm-hmm.
the signatory countries, especially when we talk about taxes.
Yes.
That in case that we need, because we have to be as the one of the people was interviewed say, we have to be open to those agreements. But the thing is, those agreements has to be in equal condition for both countries.
Right. So taxes need to, or the government needs to lower the taxes and the prices for supplies. So
Yes,
our industries can compete with others.
yes,
Okay, good. So, well, the topic was a little bit connected with the passive voice because of the idea of talking about products that are imported and exported. So I'm going to share my screen so we can review that structure. We have here some sentences in active voice and in passive voice. And we have the passive voice in past simple, right? But we can also have passive voice in present simple as we just use it. We said Colombia or flowers are are exported to USA. Um, Medicine is imported to Colombia, right? So in
Past
those
simple.
cases we have present. But if we use the past for passive voice, it's because we are going to talk about a situation that happened. For example, look at the last sentence here. We have Colombia export a lot of coffee in 2017. So if we talk about something that already happened, we can make it a we can create a passive voice with that, and we would say a lot of coffee
Was exported.
was exported. Was exported in 2017. So remember that the idea of passive voice is that we don't mention the person or the organization, or in this case, the country that makes the action. We mentioned what happened with the object or what happened with the person who receives the action. So that's what we would put first. The coffee is the important thing, not the person or the country who imported or exported the product, but what happened with the coffee. So we have other two sentences here that exemplify that, the difference between active voice and passive voice. We have some people robbed the school, so the
The
important thing
school
is
was robbed.
the school was robbed. They took some supplies, so some supplies were taken. Anna, what would be the third one? They broke a window, and a window.
Was broken.
Was broken.
Broken. The
Exactly.
windows broke. Yeah,
The next
was
one,
broken.
they stole a television.
Stolen. A television was
Was
stolen.
Problem.
Stolen.
A television was stolen.
Was
Exactly.
stolen. Yes. They photocopied all the final exams. On the final exam, photocopied
where?
was photocopied.
Exactly.
Where? Yes.
So depending if
Plural
the
and
subject
singular.
of the sentence is plural or singular, we use was,
Singular, yes.
right? Good. So
Right there.
let's think about changes that we have had in Colombia in the last 20 years. So for example, the peace agreement between FARC and the government was signed, virtual education was created, transport was changed, the minimum wage was raised, taxes were increased. What other changes we have had in the last 20 years?
Style of life, for example, better condition for citizens, so people that live in the city, because there are more well, supermarkets or more. It's easier to get, yeah, medicine, food. Before was a little thing different.
Okay, so more malls were built,
Yeah, about construction.
And more cafes were opened. More cafes.
more cafes were opened.
Mm-hmm.
What
Or
else?
we say more cafes and restaurants.
A restaurant.
Sometimes they are kind of similar.
Okay,
Many years ago, were not cafes like or many cafes around cities.
you're right. So some years ago, we didn't have internet. For example, in 2000, in 1990, internet was not the same as the one that we have now. So
Yeah.
internet cafes also increased. The number of internet cafes increased. What else has happened in our country in the last?
Technology, we obviously,
We have more
in,
technology.
yeah, we have better new devices, technological devices, internet changed around this 20 years. Yeah, open education, virtual education, like, yeah, having technology really brought a meaningful change over the world.
Correct. Okay, two more ideas.
More ecological transport were used.
Yeah, was invented uh, electronic cars, or
Okay, one
electric
more.
cars, sorry,
Was
were invented
invented on use or used.
electrical cars or
Mhm.
systems.
Well, here will be where.
How about more foreigners or more foreigner people have visited our country? Is that in
Ah, yes.
the
is that in
tourism.
passive voice?
The
No,
tourism were open.
That's
no,
Yeah,
passive.
to
that will be your sentence, Belisario, is inactive voice.
more. Okay. more
More foreigners, you said more foreigners have visited
more
our country. That is an active voice because we say the person who makes the action is in the first part of the sentence. To make it a passive voice will be our country
Has
was
received.
was visited
visited
for more.
by
All
for
right,
oh,
yes,
okay
Other
for
by
more
bar.
more
by more
foreigners.
And how
foreign.
about have been has been visited?
More foreigners, our country. Yes, that's possible, and that's also a passive voice sentence. Our country has been
Has
visited by more foreigners. So that's why we can make passive voice sentences with all the tenses. In future, in past perfect, in present perfect, with conditionals, with present simple, past simple, with all the tenses is possible. Let's review with other tenses. Let's see. Um, Here we have this paragraph that we
Okay, in passive voice change to the tenses. You are
what do you say, Felix?
what
What do you say?
that this grammar use really change according to the tenses. Mm, could be difficult or voice. Then you you change to passive voice. It become a little difficult in some cases.
Yeah, it's because sometimes it's too formal that we don't use it in everyday
Yeah,
English. It's because of that, but it's very common in on the TV or yeah,
yeah, you're
like
right.
literature in literature on TV.
Yeah, literature, not most than TV is okay.
The teacher is gone.
I was talking and I didn't realize that my microphone was off. Okay. I was saying that probably it's also because in Spanish we don't use the passive voice that much, but in English it's more common.
Mm,
Okay. What you see on the screen is a paragraph, a short paragraph that is in active voice, and it has, for example, sentences in present perfect, and we are going to change them to a passive voice. So we have the company has had many changes these years. Years or last years. In the last years, we hired 20 new employees. We bought 10 new computers for the new staff. We built new rooms and offices on the second floor. We made all these changes thanks to the increase of sales. We also said goodbye to John Crandon, who decided to retire, and in July, Nora Gilbert replaced John. We also made some changes in our workday. We reduced working hours and increased vacation days. So what we have here are sentences in which first we have the person who makes the action, which is we in all these cases. We made, we said, right? So if we want to change that paragraph into passive voice, we need to mention first the object or person that receives the action. For example, the company has had many changes this of the last years, right? So we have 20 new employees. What can we write here?
Were hired.
Exactly. So now we have a passive voice sentence. We're hired. 10 new computers,
Were bought.
right?
What about what? Well, yeah.
For the new staff, new rooms and offices,
Were built.
right?
And how about have been built?
German passive.
Okay, we can say that if we think that it can continue. So
John was revised.
have been
So there
built
are
is
two
possible.
options, different options.
Yes, it's possible. If I have in the active voice here we have built, that is possible. If the exercise is just to change the sentences that we have here into passive voice, so we will have here we have built. But if we don't have the exercise just to change these ones to passive voice, it will be possible to use other tenses here, right?
Right.
So new rooms and offices have been built on the second floor. We made all these changes thanks to the increase of sales. We also said goodbye to John Crandon, who decided to retire. And in
John
July,
was
John
replaced.
was
Was
replaced
replaced. Replaced. Yes.
by Nora Gilbert. We also made some changes in our workday, working hours.
Were
Uh,
were
where reduced.
reduced.
Exactly.
Or have been
Reduced.
reduced.
Where reduced.
Or has been reduced.
Okay,
Maybe.
or have been
Yeah.
reduced. That's
Vacation
possible.
days
That sounds
were were
more
increased.
advanced. Have
Vacation
been
days.
reduced. Some more advanced.
Have been increased or were increased.
Exactly, both possibilities.
So the possibility.
Good. Okay, so as you see, we have first in the sentence the object, vacation days, not the person who makes the action, but the object. Working hours. John, who was the person who was replaced, is not the person who makes the action of replacing, but the person who was replaced. New rooms and offices, right?
Uh, Teacher, could you be able to share this exercise with me?
Sure.
Or it's so interesting because it's in contest. You see, that is so important because it's in contest.
Yes, I can share this presentation with you. I'm going to publish it in the virtual room so anyone who wants to download it can do it.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, here we have some other examples with other tenses, but I think I'm gonna show you better some charts which explain better the activity. Let me show you.
And some exercises in Dexway are so good, but it's not possible to get them.
To download them, yes.
Yeah, and they are so good.
Okay, here we have with future. I'm going to share my screen.
Future.
Yes, remember that we can write passive voice sentences with all the tenses. So here we have with future with will. So we have Pearson will publish his new book. So his new book will be published by Pearson. Helen will install the curtains. The curtains will be installed by Helen. Colombians will elect a new president. What will be the passive voice?
A new president
Will
will
be
be
Exactly.
elected.
elected by
Exactly.
Colombians.
Yeah.
The company will employ a new worker.
A new worker will be
Mm,
Will be employed.
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 exactly.
Employed, yeah.
So good. These exercises are good.
The
Will,
horse,
will
the
be
stable.
We can write who will employ it or we can avoid it. We can say a new worker will be employed and the sentence is complete. Or we can say a new worker will be employed by the company.
Okay.
John will take the horses to the stable.
The horses will be taken to the stable. Okay.
Exactly.
Is it not better to say horses? How about the specific ones? The horses, yeah.
If they are, yes, if they are a group of horses, will be those ones will be the horses.
On this exercise is so good. My God, so interesting to be used with students.
And it's
Yeah, it
possible by John.
could you repeat, Alejandra?
It's possible right by John.
Yes, the horses will be taken to the stable by John. Exactly. Good. So what we need to again memorize is the rule. If we are going to write a passive voice sentence with will, we have will be and the past participle of the verb. In the other exercises, we had the past form of the verb to be and the past participle of the verb. Because we said, for example, um, flowers were exported in 2017. Many flowers were exported in 2017. So if we are going to talk about past actions, we can use the past form of the verb to be plus the past participle of the verb. If we are going to talk about future actions, we use will, be, and the past participle of the verb. Right? Here we have also with present continuous. So the rule with present continuous is the present form of the verb to be, the word being, and the past participle of the verb. So read the examples, the first two examples, and tell me what is the sentence, the passive voice sentence for the third sentence.
Here is being made by the carpenter. Furniture is being made by the carpenter.
Okay. Ana, could you please translate the sentence into Spanish?
Los muebles están siendo hechos por el carpintero.
That sounds weird. We don't say that in Spanish, right? But in English it's common. Passive voice is common. What about this sentence? Andrea is not writing a story.
Um, I
Stories
Alejandra?
already.
yes,
Yes, what will be the sentence?
a story is being um, written. Ah, no,
Written,
isn't
Uh-huh.
isn't being
written or written,
written. Yes, written.
written or written.
Mm-hmm. By Andrea.
Okay, could you translate that sentence into Spanish, please?
Eh, una historia no está siendo
Está
escrita.
escrita por Andrea.
Exacto. Una historia no está siendo escrita por Andrea. Again, we don't say that in Spanish. We use active voice. And we would say, Andrea no está escribiendo una historia. But again, in English, it's common passive voice. And the last sentence, Anna, we have 3 men are building the house.
The house are being
How many houses?
well, no, is
One.
Exactly.
the house is being
Exactly.
been built
Burn.
built
Exactly.
for 3 men
Uh-huh.
By
Could you
by
translate it
3 men. Yes,
could you
for
translate
three
it
men.
into Spanish, please?
La casa es construida, va a ser construida por 3 hombres.
está
Está
haciendo.
siendo
Está siendo construida por 3 hombres.
exactly. Again, we would say in Spanish, we would prefer to say in Spanish, 3 hombres están construyendo la casa,
Ajá.
right?
Mhm.
Okay, good. And here we have with modals. With modals is easier. The rule is the modal word, the verb be, and the past participle of the verb. So Jan must pay the bill must be paid. Felix, Helen might adopted that dog.
Okay, the dog might be adopted by Helen.
Mhm.
Exactly. Anna, the next sentence, please.
Mm, Leather person sentences for corpse
Yes,
should be
yes.
approved by the government.
Could you translate it into Spanish?
La más larga ahora sí que
Condena sería.
la más larga condena eh, para los corruptos
Sí,
podría ser aprobada por el gobierno.
Debería.
debería.
Debería ser aprobada por el gobierno.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Belisario,
the next one.
please. Yes,
Free,
please.
free education for children should be offered by the government.
And the translation?
Educación gratis para los niños deben ser ofrecidas
Debería
por el
ser
gobierno.
ofrecida por el gobierno.
Should be
Good.
Be
offered.
offered.
And the last
And
one?
the piece,
right?
the piece should be made, should be made by, okay, by, by North
May,
Korea.
Yep.
by North Korea, but
The piece should
South
be made
Korea.
by
North
North
Korea.
Korea with South Korea. By
South
North
Korea.
Korea with South Korea.
And the translation?
La paz
Debería
debería
ser.
hacerse entre, o debería darse entre Corea del Norte y Corea del Sur, o Corea del, sí, del Norte y del Sur.
Okay,
Eh,
good. All right. So again, for this topic, the idea is to memorize the rules. With modals, we have the modal, the verb be, and the past participle of the verb. The same happens with the verb, with will, with the verb. We have will, the verb be, and the past participle of the verb. While with present continuous, we have the verb to be in present, the verb being, and the past participle of the verb. Okay, I'm going to share with you two presentations, this one and the previous one, in which we had uh, some examples in present, in past, and in present perfect, for you to review the rules. You guys have questions about this?
Oh, it's
No, no, it's
great.
okay.
It's
It's
clear?
only practice.
Yes,
Put
it's a
into
matter of
the
practice.
practice all this rule
Yes.
only.
no, it's easy. It's practice. Yes.
And
Good.
it's great to share this material with our students, like for in the future. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I will publish it tonight, so you can download it if you need. I will publish it down under the link of the encounter. Okay.
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 Good, guys. So next week we will practice again the use of modal verbs in passive voice and other topics that probably questions that you might have, or we will have also a debate about a specific topic for you to practice orally, right? So that's all. Thank you for joining the encounter
Yeah.
tonight.
Right.
Okay, right.
Good. So have a good night, everybody, and see you on Wednesday.
All right.
Much for your time, teacher.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
Right.
Good night.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
so much,
See
teacher.
you. See you.